The people who worked at Monolith Studios just can't catch a break. Just a couple months ago, Monolith was closed by Warner Bros. Now, Cliffhanger Games, the studio that many former Monolith employees ended up at, has been shuttered by EA, and their Black Panther video game project along with it. And what's EA's plan going forward, you ask? To focus on existing franchises and IP until they're completely milk dry. Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends. Of course, that also includes their sport franchises, the third Jedi game, and potentially Mass Effect. A Mass Effect game that is more than likely the do-or-die moment for BioWare. I did have to chuckle a bit at the inclusion of Skate. I know a lot of people are excited about it, but is it going to be a successful enough franchise for EA to put so much emphasis on it? I wouldn't bet on it. Cliffhanger was shut down before they even got a chance to release their first game. Turns out, it takes a good chunk of time to build a new studio from scratch and make an ambitious first project. Truly a sad ending for such a talented group of people and a monumental waste of their time, spent on a project that will now never see the light of day. Not to mention the innovative Nemesis system that now just sits at the bottom of a very expensive executive's toy box at Warner Bros.
It's my IP to sit on and do nothing with!
In case you forgot, EA also closed Ridgeline Studios last year before the team even got a project out the door. EA purchased Codemasters in 2020 as well. I feel like the only thing I've heard about them since is multiple rounds of layoffs. While it's easy to criticize big publishers these days, it's important to remember how many great experiences they used to bring players. Without EA, we wouldn't have gotten games like Dead Space, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, or Titanfall. Without Ubisoft, we wouldn't have gotten the original Assassin's Creed games, Splinter Cell, Rayman, etc. I could continue to list beloved games that have come out of all these publishers, but you get the point. That's the truly frustrating thing about these publishers over the last decade. They used to put their resources and money behind exciting new IPs and take chances on games and projects that would wow the industry. Now, it's just a predictable cycle of milking a franchise until the developers are burnt out or a bad entry is released. And then the publisher gets to come back as its savior with a proper reboot, bringing the series back to its roots. It's immensely annoying to me that publishers like EA, Ubisoft, Take-Two, 2K, etc. have all the money that they need to fund different projects, take risks, and help kickstart exciting new franchises and development teams, and just don't. Or if they do, and it's not a massive hit right out of the gate, then the team is done, and the franchise is dead. It's a zero-sum game for them at this point. X franchises have to make X amount of money, or they're not worth pursuing any further, and we get the corporate statement that the company will focus on its already successful existing brands. There's no better example of this than with Ubisoft and Immortals Fenyx Rising. The game was a very solid first attempt at something different for the company. There were plans for a sequel that would have explored different mythologies such as Hawaiian Polynesian myths, according to Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb. But, just as with EA, Ubisoft decided to shelve that idea as they wanted to pivot towards their more prominent brands. And of course, here we are, almost exactly 2 years later. Ubisoft has laid off tons of people and split the company into a new subsidiary with Tencent, and most of their recent big releases haven't set sales charts on fire. What is their goal going forward? To focus on their well-known franchises like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, The Division, and so on, of course. In fact, they're apparently so starved for ideas that instead of, I don't know, creating a new single-player pirate RPG that people have been begging the company for, we're going to remake Assassin's Creed Black Flag instead. Come on! At least Skull and Bones is getting land exploration and combat. Maybe someday they'll even add shipboarding combat. Wouldn't that be nice? 2K basically has Borderlands, Civilization, and Mafia alongside their usual sports games. And their latest new IP announcement, which I bet you completely forgot about by now? Project Ethos. A Fortnite-looking roguelike third-person multiplayer shooter. We haven't heard a word about that since its announcement that fell completely flat. We know the reason for these companies taking the safe route on all these projects. They need to make all the money to keep their shareholders happy. But how many entries in the same franchise will people play before they get bored? How many times will they try to recreate experiences players have already had and fail to do so? You can almost feel the air of excitement leave the room during showcases these days when the next Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed appears on the screen. Millions of people still play these games, of course, myself included. I'm not rooting for them to go away. I'm excited for the next Battlefield game, I love a good Call of Duty campaign, and I'm eagerly awaiting the wrap-up to the Jedi trilogy. these games have their place in the industry as anchor franchises. But my hope would be that the success of these franchises helps make room for new things too. These publishers are digging their own graves because they're not building up new franchises to replace the ones they already have once they've run their course or the developers move on because they want to make something new. That's where I have to give props to Xbox and PlayStation. Both are pretty good at announcing a steady stream of new IPs and not over-focusing on one franchise for too long. That's not to say they don't do that at all. We all know how Halo has gone. But in general, I think both Xbox and PlayStation have a much better balance than the publishers I mentioned earlier in this piece. It's sad to see the publishers that once were exciting enough to have their own showcase events become such shadows of their former selves. Ubisoft showcases in particular were always exciting because they typically announce a new IP as their one more thing, but that hasn't happened in years. These publishers should be using the money they're making to incubate smaller projects that could one day become the next mega franchise. But instead, they've set the money bar so high that they're running themselves and their talent out of business. The worst thing a publisher can be is boring, and right now, for EA and Ubisoft specifically, it's a self-inflicted wound that they seem intent on continuing to deepen. I don't want to see these publishers fail. I want to see them be exciting again.
We here at Second Wind are well into our second year as a content-producing powerhouse, and we're hoping to keep going into a third, and perhaps even dare we dream a fourth. By donating as little as $1 a month to our Patreon, you can be a part of helping us keep going. Well, subscribe to the $5 tier and you can enjoy all kinds of extra content we keep under the table for the special customers. I myself have been indulging my hobby of making long-form videos in which I explain the lore of video game franchises I don't know much about, as well as some exclusive interviews and other experimental videos I and my colleagues are creating on a monthly basis. Maybe you'll enjoy them, maybe you'll want to join the Patreon so you can tell us they suck. Either way helps the creative process. If you want to be part of ensuring the existence of one of the few professional gaming media outlets that isn't being ruined and or shut down by corporate bastards, go to patreon.com/secondwindgroup and please consider giving whatever you can spare. And if you don't want to do any of that either, I don't know, take up cycling, it's good core exercise.